Good afternoon, class. I am Sergeant Askew, and today I will be conducting training on determining grid azimuth using a protractor. For today's class, we will be using a map, a military protractor, and a compass, and also a blank piece of paper. For today's class, all materials will be provided, and the way you got the map, please fold it back the same way, and please do not bend the protractors. Today, you will identify the starting point and the ending point of a map, draw a straight line on the map, conducting the points, align the protractor to the map, and determine the value of the angle. Okay, so today the overall risk assessment is low, but given the current environment that we are in, I do urge that you watch out for holes in the ground, uneven surfaces, wildlife in the area, and because of high temperatures this afternoon, stay hydrated and drink from your water source. The information from this training is unclassified, and with that being said, we'll go ahead and jump into the class. All right. It is important to be able to know this skill. As soldiers, how to determine a grid azimuth using a protractor. So I'm gonna give a little background of the azimuth. The direction from one point to another, either on the map or the ground, is called an azimuth. Azimuths are given in degrees or mils in a clockwise direction from north, and all azimuths taken from a map are grid azimuths. An azimuth in degrees can be any number up to 360, as there are 360 degrees in a circle. Due east is 90 degrees, due south is 180 degrees, due west is 270 degrees, and due north is 360 degrees or 0 degrees. An azimuth in mils can be number up to 6,400, as there are 6,400 mils in a circle. Due east is 1,600 mils, due south is 3,200 mils, and due west is 4,800 mils, and due north is 6,400 mils or 0 mils. The most accurate way to determine an azimuth from a map is to use a protractor. There are two types of protractors, and the two protractors are the square protractor, which is also the GTA 0502012, or the semicircular protractor. And for the square protractor, which has a degree scale and a mil scale, the inner scale and the degree scale are also considered the outer and the inner scales. The semicircular protractor, which may vary on having two scales, has an outer scale and an inner scale as well. The mil and the degree scales consist of two rows and numbers. In each of these scales, the outer row of numbers is used when determining azimuths to the east of your position. And the inner row of the numbers is used when determining azimuths to the west of your position. Okay, so for today's condition, you are a member of a squad or team that has received an order requiring movement. You have been directed to determine the grid azimuth from the starting point and ending point designated in the order. All right, so the first thing that you do is ordinate yourself to the map. So turn the map around. All right. If you're not familiar with doing so, orientating the map, the meaning is you are positioning the map so its north is actually pointing north, and using the compass, make sure north on the map matches the north on the compass. When you orient a map and know where you are on the map, you can look in a certain direction and see a real landmark and find it on the map. All right. So the next step is to identify 2 points and plot them on the map. One being the starting point and the other is the end point. For training purposes, I will identify 2 points and they will be known as point A and point B. All right, for example, I will be plotting the coordinates 27 and 72, and 30 and 75. So, see the protractor. All right, pin. So everything you do right and up. So, see we got numbers on the bottom and on the side. So you find 27, just right here. And then 72, just right here. And then they meet up right there for this point right here. And then you plot that.
Okay.
The next one is 30, 75. Find 30, go up right here. And then 75 is right here. And then they meet up in the middle and you point right there. All right. So since you are knowledgeable on that, I want you to demonstrate plotting 2 points on the map.
Okay. Oh, great.
Yep.
So over 26, 27, there, 72, and then over 30 and up to 75.
All right, great. Now that you are familiar with plotting points, we will then move to the next step. All right? And the next step is to use a straight edge and draw a straight line to connect points A and B. I will demonstrate. This piece of paper, it's a straight edge. Thank you. And then you put the paper where the points are, and then you connect the points using a straight edge. All right. Since I've demonstrated that, I want you to demonstrate your knowledge and do the same.
Okay. So using the paper from my first point to my second point.
All right. Good job. The next thing you do is grab your protractor. I have one for you, one for me. All right, for this training, make sure when using the protractor to use the inner scale, otherwise known as the inside scale, not the outer scale. So if you look at the protractor, there's an inner and then the outer. We're gonna use the inner. And the reason for this is for accuracy. We want the most accurate azimuth. Also make sure north is always centered with the center of the protractor. If you have your protractor facing correctly, the 0 should always point north and the 90 should always point east. All right, let's see you do it. Okay. All right. Always identify the correct start point and the correct end point. If you start with your end point and go to your start point, you will have a 180-degree difference. All right. So next is to take out your piece of paper. You can use either one of these papers. And we'll be using this paper as a straight edge. That way, we don't have to ruin the map, and we're gonna make a line. All right. And just a note, the line drawn in between the 2 points must be long enough to cross the scale of the protractor in order to read the azimuth. Should the line be between the 2 points be too short to cross the line, and we don't want that to happen. So we have to extend the line beyond the point of B until it crosses the scale. So these are the 2 points, the line in between. Put the protractor down there. Then we'll use this as the straight edge to go beyond the scale to see how many degrees. All right. And we have 40 degrees. All right. Now at this time, I'm gonna have you try to do the same thing. Good job. You got 40?
Yes.
All right, good job. All right, now at this time, I'm gonna give you multiple new starting points and end points. I want you to practice plotting them and then tell me the degrees that you found, and then we'll go from there. Do you have any questions for that?
No questions.
All right. And your plots are gonna be right here on this piece of paper. I give you 3 minutes to do so. Make sure you orient your map.
Thank you. I'm done.
All right. Did you write down your answers? All right, all of them are correct except for one. Let me check your work. All right. All right, I see where you messed up. Your mistake is you did not plot your starting point correctly for these coordinates. And if you do that, then the overall degrees will be off because the first one was off. So you have to remember to plot correctly. And to do so, you remember I told you earlier, it's right and then up. So for the first one, you had 22 and 75. It's right and up. 22 and then 75. Right and up. They meet there. All right. So that's what your point was supposed to be. All right. So now that you're aware of your deficiencies and had time to practice, and you also have step-by-step instructions on how to determine the grid azimuth using a protractor, you will be evaluated. All right. Your evaluation will be a 5 performance measure. It will be on 5 performance measures that you must complete in order to pass this task. These measures are listed as identify the starting point of the map. That's number 1. Number 2, identify the ending point of the map. Number 3, drew a straight line on the map conducting the 2 points. Number 4, align the protractor to the map. And number 5, determine the value of the angle. All right, so you will receive either a go or no go on each measure. You have 5 minutes to complete this task. If you receive a go on all the tasks, you will be considered fully trained. However, if you fail, you will be required to do retraining at a later date, And on that date, you will be assessed and evaluated once again. All right, so I have a list of coordinates right here, and you have 5 minutes to complete. Here you go. Are you complete?
Yes.
All right. I will go over your answers. All right, class. Good job. I went over your answers, and only one of you have failed. Those who failed will be notified, and like I mentioned previously, you will have to conduct retraining at a later date. All right? So Ramon, I had 2 trainees, 2 personnel present for training, and 1 passed and 1 failed. And the one that failed will need a later date for retraining. All right, now that we concluded our training for this afternoon, I'm gonna need all of my materials back. So I need you guys to put away your pencils, the maps and the compasses and the protractors in the designated area to the right. Our duty an obligation is to protect and preserve the environment. So please ensure that you bring back your belongings that you brought out here, put them back. So police call the area before I go any further. Go ahead. Make sure to fold the map back the way you got it.
Roger.
Just put it in the designated area. All right. Now we will conduct an AIR. We will go over what was supposed to happen, what did happen, the improvements, and the sustainments. So, what was supposed to happen is the conduction of training on 071-COM-0018, which is determining the grid azimuth using a protractor. The conditions were you were a member of a squad or team that has received an order requiring movement. You were directed to determine the grid azimuth from the starting point and end point designated in the order. You were told to identify the starting point and ending point on the map, draw a straight line on the map connecting the points, align the protractor to the map, and determine the value of the angle. So, what did happen during this training?
I was able to coordinate. You taught me how to coordinate grid coordinates, as well as find the azimuth on a grid map.
Okay. Were there any improvements?
I think there was a little bit of wind out here, but
Okay.
that's to expect in the field. But other than that, no.
All right, what about sustainments?
I liked how hands-on you were. I did feel like I was able to learn the topic quickly.
Okay, so you like how hands-on I was? You were able to gain knowledge, you liked the topic, and because of the wind, it kind of interrupted the communication. All right, next time we'll go to a different location if possible. All right, well, I appreciate you coming out. You did good today. If you don't have anything from me, you're dismissed.
Thank you.
How you think that went?
I feel like it did good. I think it did all right. I mean, the time we sitting at.
That wind, man.
Yeah, that's the thing that I was gonna say. If anything, just stop this. If